Hi everyone, Tobin here. Today I'm going to give an outdoor tour of my property now that I've been here about a year and a half. And I have to start with one of the biggest reasons I bought this house, this beautiful giant tree that has its own ecosystem on it. It has about 50 feet minimum of dragon fruit, pitaya growing. And as soon as I saw that when I pulled into this neighborhood, I have my own private road, big beautiful Mexican cactus, so that's edible. If you're familiar with cactus, that's the edible one. Here is my entrance gate in front of my property. So this is the road, private road. That little cone building is the end of my property. That's one of my cabins that's being renovated. And then just beyond that, my neighbor Pablo and his family. So I'm gonna give this tour of all of the fruit trees that were both existing here when I bought the property, but also that I've planted here since, that have been able to grow for about a year and a half now, and some of them are starting to fruit and flower, which is wonderful. So I'm going to have very soon an abundance of 50 variations of superfruits that grow only in the tropics typically. And then I have vegetables and herbs from all over the planet, seeds that I've gathered here, and exotic plants that I've gotten at Ark of the Herbs in Heredia near San Jose. If you guys are in Costa Rica or visiting Costa Rica, I highly recommend visiting Ark of the Herbs. It's a beautiful, almost Greek-like castle structure on the top of a mountain overlooking the Central Valley, and they have, from what I've researched, and I'm quite sure they are #1 in the country for diversity in species, both medicinal, edible, and floral. And they also do, and I'm gonna probably get the price wrong, but I think it's about $20 a person, $25 a person, and you get a meal, full service. I think they have a brewery there as well, but you get an experience per person for a lunch, and you get to wander the botanical gardens after, and it's a beautiful space. Highly recommend it. But a lot of the things you're gonna see growing in here, this one specifically, this is ayahuasca, which is typically only found in the Amazon jungle. And I've begun to let it grow up my roof here on my entrance gate, and it's actually up above the roof. I don't know if you can see it, and it's climbing along this living fence here along the front of my yard. And I have, I think, 4 or 5 more locations where I'm growing ayahuasca, and that's from Ark of the Herbs. So any of you that know about ayahuasca, it's a super medicinal herb. You make kind of like a stew from the bark, from the actual trunk of this. Once it gets big enough and thick enough, it produces a chemical and activates, actually, ayahuasca activates the chemical DMT in our brain and bloodstream. And if we consume other botanicals that have high concentrations of DMT in them, like chacruna, ayahuasca facilitates that DMT experience. And if you know anything about the DMT experience, it's prolific, profound, and something that probably every person needs to experience in their lifetime. We should probably be introducing this in kind of early medicines to kids to facilitate a development of consciousness and empathy and connectedness in the universe. My opinion. If the world was ideal, if I became president of a country, DMT would be legalized as a necessary medicinal and educational and emotional, psychological healing mechanism for everybody to use. So anyway, that's my little rant. Ayahuasca, it's magical. Now we go into the gate, MTV Cribs.